അത് ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചില്ലല്ലോ. ആദ്യത്തെ സെഷൻ റെക്കോർഡ് ആയതല്ലേ? അത് റെക്കോർഡായിട്ടില്ല. കുഴപ്പമില്ല, അത് സ്റ്റാർട്ടിങ് അല്ലേ. ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് ഇവിടെ ഓക്കെ. എനിവേ, okay, we'll do one thing. We will see the main working of a drum brake through one animation.
Drum brakes are usually used as rear brakes in automobiles. Let's go through the parts involved in the system and see how it works in detail. Brake drum acts as the braking surface on the wheel side. Wheel hub, the part to which the brake drum and the wheel are attached to. Let's have a closer look with the wheel hub off. Backplate. This holds all the brake components together. Brake shoes. These will be pushed against the inner surface of the drum. The friction between the lining and the drum is what makes the wheels to slow down. Hold down spring holds the brake shoes towards the backplate. Retaining springs returns the brake shoes to its resting position. Wheel cylinder, the hydraulic part which pushes the brake shoes. Modern drum brake systems are self-adjusting, which means when the lining wears out, the system adjusts the brake shoes towards the drum. For that, the system uses a brake adjuster, adjuster lever, adjuster spring. The wheel cylinder receives the force that we applied on the brake pedal. At the back of the wheel cylinder, there is an inlet port to receive the fluid, and a bleeder valve to remove air in the system. Let's have a look at the exploded view. The cylinder body, dust boot, pistons, piston cups, piston cup expanders, return spring. When force is applied on brake, hydraulic fluid pushes the wheel cylinder pistons, which pushes the brake shoes. This action creates friction between the brake liner and the inner surface of the drum, and brings the automobile to rest. The adjuster makes sure that the brake liners remain close to the drum as the liners wear down. As you can see, it uses a screw mechanism to increase its length between the shoes. Each time the car brakes while in reverse, the cog is pulled down by the pin to push the shoes against the drum. And that's how a drum brake system works.
So these were the things about the drum brakes. So drum brake, it is a brake which is where the friction is caused by the set of pads that press against the inner surface of the rotating drum. So that is a drum brake, and here it uses the friction caused by a set of shoes, or a set of braking shoes are used for attaining the friction which is pressing against the rotating drum shaped part which is connected to the wheels. When the shoes press on there is two types of drum brakes, or we can see two kinds of drum brake. First one is clamp drum brake and second is pinch drum brake. And clasp drum brake is where the shoes press on the outside of the drum, and the pinch drum brake is when the drum is pinched between the two shoes. This was the working of drum brake. Main components. These are the main three components of a drum brake or drum brake system. That is hydraulic wheel cylinders, brake shoes, and brake drums. And the mechanism comes under these the or working of these three components. So while we are applying a brake or pressurizing the brake pedal, what happens is two curved brake shoes, primary and secondary, this will which have a friction material lining, are forced by the hydraulic wheel cylinders against the inner surface of the rotating brake drum. So when the brake pedal is applied, what happens is, using the hydraulic force or hydraulic mechanism, these two brake shoes will be engaged with the rotating drum or brake drum, which is connected to the vehicle's wheel, and that thereby a friction is caused because there will be some friction materials or friction lining provided on the brake shoes. The result of this contact produces friction which enables the vehicle to slow down or even stop. This was the main figure or the components. Here you can see the components of the drum brake or drum brake system. And here, this is the shoes, brake shoes, primary and secondary brake shoes. And there you can see the lining materials or friction linings provided. And this is a piston. Next, there will be some certain provision for the emergency braking lever and the cable associated with that. This is the outer part is the brake drum. So when this brake shoe, these particular brake shoes comes into contact or got engaged to the drum using this lining or friction lining, then both will be in contact or engaged, and as we already discussed, the friction will be produced, and also due to absorbing the kinetic energy, the vehicle will stop or slows down the motion. This was the working of a drum brake, and you have seen the main animation regarding that. Now, coming to the main components. There are certain components. The main components are the backing plate, where the every setup is placed, or it provides a main base for the other components. The next component, the brake drum, wheel cylinder, brake shoes, etc. So here the first one is the backing plate. That is backing plate. Backing plate. It provides a base for other components, and also it provides a non-rotation rigid mounting surface for the wheels and brake shoes. That is backing plate. Next is the brake drum. You can see here. Brake drum. This is the brake drum. It is mainly made up of cast iron. Cast iron. Made up of cast iron. Cast iron and rotates with the wheel and axle. So this will be in connection with the vehicle's wheel. So it will rotate with the wheel and axis. And when the driver applies the brake, this lining pushes in the radial direction against the inner surface of the drum, and which may stops the rotation of the wheel and axle. So this is a brake drum. Next, wheel cylinder. Wheel cylinder. Wheel cylinder. Wheel cylinder. Wheel cylinder mainly it operates on the braking of the wheel. You have seen in the video. So two pistons mainly operates on the shoes, one each at end of the wheel cylinder. These are the shoes, brake shoes. Here at the two ends, the particular wheel cylinders are there. And last component is the brake shoe itself. Is the brake shoes. One will be primary and secondary, and the brake shoes you can mainly classify as primary shoe and next one primary or leading shoe. Primary and leading shoe, and next is the secondary or trailing shoe. That will be given. Next figure will be there. So these are the main components of a drum brake. First one we have seen backing plate, then brake drum, wheel cylinder, brake shoe, and last brake lining. Brake lining also. Brake lining means the friction materials. There will be certain friction materials bonded with the brake shoes and all. That is a brake lining. So regarding the brake shoes, here you can see the brake shoes, how it is working. You can see here an anchor pin is there, and adjusting screws, and this is the brake lining given. Here what happens is, as this is moved or rotated, this will here it is somewhat like hinged joint mechanism for hinging, and this will be in the stationary position. As it is moved, this will move in this direction, and this may move in this direction as a, or it will be like expanding. This will expand, and here there is or actuated by only one point, or in this point itself it is actuated, and due to that it will expand, and in that case we can say it is a single leading brake shoe. In some cases there will be two leads. Here also there will be some leading, and as a result this will also move and this will also move, and the expansion will be caused in such a manner. And that case we can call it as twin leading brake shoe. That is, first case it is single leading single leading. That is this type of brake shoe where the operation is given to, or the action is given to only one point. If it is given to 2 points, then we can call it as twin leading. Twin leading. I think there is a figure for that. These are the two types. The two types comes under this primary shoe or leading shoe. is the single type, single, where you can see it is actuated only at one point. When it is, you can see when this is rotated, if it is rotated like this, what happens is it will create a force on these two sides. As a result, it will move like this, or it may expand in this direction, these two portions, right? Because, and this portion is hinged, and we are not giving any force on this point, we are only actuating in this particular point. This is single leading brake shoe. And for twin leading, what happens is this particular component will be present in this portion also, that is like this. So at the 2 points they are having the leads. Now the types of drum brakes. So there are mainly two types of drum brakes. That is, first one is external contracting, and next is the internal expanding. So here we earlier we see the internal expanding braking system. That is, the drum is here. This is the drum, and the brake shoes are here like this, by somewhat mechanism, any mechanism. This is pressurized or forced in this direction, and as a result, the braking is done. This is internal expanding braking system. Internal expanding work like this. Now, what will be the external contracting brakes? That is, when the brake shoe is, if the brake shoe is placed outside, and due to the contraction, it may connect or engage to the drum in such a manner. So in that case, we can call it as an external contracting brake. So these are the two types of drum brakes, that is external contracting and internal expanding braking system. So these are the figures. This is the first case is the external contracting type of drum brake, where the friction lining or the brake pad is provided in the outer surface. It will be contracting. As a result, it will come into contact with the drum placed here. This is the external contracting type of drum brake. Next is the internal expanding type, where the shoes or the brake shoes are placed inside the drum, and as a result of expanding, whether it is twin or single leading, whatever may be, by expanding the what you call the brake shoe, it will be engaged to the drum, which is present in the outside surface. These are the regarding the types of drums. Here you can see same thing. That is, when a brake shoe or brake band is applied against the outside of a rotating brake drum, the brake is known as external contracting brake. And in this type, the braking surface of the brake shoe is forced inward against the drum to produce the friction necessary for braking. So in this case, what happens is the braking surface of the brake shoe is forced inwards or towards the, or from radially from outside to inwards. So it is acting inwards against the drum to produce the friction. The brake band is tightened around the drum by moving the brake lever. Unless an elaborate cover is provided, The external contracting brake is exposed to dirt, water, and other foreign matter, which rapidly wears the lining and the drum. So, there may be a chance to get polluted to the components or components of the braking system that may lead to the failure of the braking system, final failure. So it may affect the system. So in order to prevent that, we are providing an elaborate cover. Sometimes you can see this certain types of or kinds of covers provided. This is mainly done to prevent this exposure to which all things, dust, water, foreign matters, etc. That may cause the wearing of lining and also drums. So the internal expanding braking is also we have discussed. The brake shoes, brake shoe unit is placed inside the rotating drum with the drum acting as a cover for braking surfaces. Here what happens is the brake shoes are placed inside the drum, and here so as the parts or the brake shoes are placed inside the drum itself may be acting as the cover for braking surfaces, so to in order to prevent the pollution and all. And this type of braking is known as the internal expanding braking, because the braking surface of the brake shoe is forced outward against the inner surface of the drum to produce the braking action. So earlier, in the case of external contracting, it was acting inwards for the brake shoes. Brake shoes are forced inwards from the outside in the radial direction. But in this case, what happens is the braking surface or brake shoe is forced outwards, radially outwards against the inner surface of the drum to produce the braking action. Now, this type of braking is used on the wheel brakes of the cars and trucks because it permits more compact and economic construction. So, this particular type of braking, that is internal expanding braking, this setup is used mainly for every vehicles, whether it is a car or truck, etc. Because of these two properties, that is, it is more compact and also economical. The construction is economical. And also we have seen regarding the covers and all. We need not have a extra cover for protection. Now, the brake shoes and the brake operating mechanism may be mounted on a backing plate. We already seen the components while we were discussing on the components of the braking brake drum. So these all parts are mounted on the backing plate or brake shield. This protects the braking surfaces from dust and other foreign matters. These are all about the internal contracting internal expanding braking. These are the things which comes under drum brakes. Next is the disc brake. And the disc brake, okay, we will learn in the next session.